What have I done? So if you've ever read the book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, in that book, you'll remember that when the mouse asked for a cookie, it didn't stop there. Then it asked for a glass of milk. And once it asked for a glass of milk, it needed a bedtime story. And in our case, you give a gardener that's obsessed with gardening 14 acres of land, they're gonna ask for an orchard. We got ourselves an orchard. But then once they ask for the orchard, they're gonna realize that those 14 acres also needs a seed farm. And so I got the seed farm I asked for. And then after that, you realize, well, now I don't want any neighbors because I don't want someone to move in just next to my seed farm and my orchard. And I also just want the whole thing. So I asked for the whole thing and I got the whole thing. All 39 acres, man. And it's freaking amazing. Let's go for a walk. So one of the things that I'm really excited about is the fact that I don't know what we're gonna put here. I really don't know. I mean, I know we're probably gonna put more orchard. I know we're probably gonna put more seed beds because we don't have all that many seed beds. We have 10 so far. And I'd like to have 15 or 20 seed beds. I'd like to double the amount of seed beds we have. In fact, our seed beds, you check out right over there, they're beautiful, especially because as we're walking, we're going up elevation. This is one of the most, I think in my opinion, one of the best attributes about this part of the farm is the fact that the first part we bought was, for the most part, fairly flat. And it was not boring by any means. It had some good character. It had some beautiful trees. But the most character actually lied on this side of the property. And the camera won't do it justice, especially because now we are on some of these hills. But this part of the property has these absolutely gorgeous. If you are a romantic like I am, and you love just the beauty that nature provides, the incredible untapped beauty, you cannot pass up a beautiful rolling hill or a swale, a tiny little valley in between the back oak tree and this kind of middle part of the farm. There's this gorgeous swale that happens and it transfers water naturally in the spring, just a gentle transferring of water. It's not even a river, it's not a creek, it's just a gentle transferring of water through 2 points of elevation. And it just, I cannot wait. One of the things that I'm envisioning for this part is I want to have fruit trees that extend from the original orchard and make an L shape up this hill here, because as you're standing on the lower part looking up, you're going to see the trees so much more. The elevation will actually be accentuated. And then when you're on the high part looking down, you're going to see the start of the trees and you're going to see all the trees that we've planted from the beginning all the way to the other end of the property. And it's just, that's very exciting to me. But then we have obviously a need for more seed beds, and there's gonna be a lot of cool stuff. Not to mention, we've already started tapping the maple trees along the windrow. We got a bunch of maple trees. We've counted, there's probably 50 to 75 maple trees that we're gonna be tapping, and that's gonna be a ton of maple syrup production. I'm just really excited about all the stuff that we're gonna do here. And obviously honeybees and all the other stuff, but I don't quite have a fully fleshed out plan for all this land yet, because I would have been fine getting 10 or 20 acres, but they sold us 25 acres. And so there's more than enough land. In fact, what we might do also is we might just cover crop it and then have someone come and create bales and just sell the bales until, kind of just maintain the land, right? Maintain the land, get it from this kind of sandy loam, build up the organic material so that doesn't get depleted, and then just kind of, like I said, regenerate the land until we have uses for it, and then develop it in blocks, because there is quite a lot of value in just baled forage for cows and horses. So we might do that too, just for, like I said, have someone come and do it, have someone cut it, have someone bale it, and then just essentially just pay for the property taxes. That's essentially what the biggest value would be. It's just so we don't have to pay any money to own the land. It's already owned, and then we just develop it slowly. But it's mind-blowing. Like all the way over there, like all the way behind me, to put this in perspective, from corner to corner It is almost 3/4 of a mile from corner to corner. Like, you think of how far a mile is, and you think, I have 3/4 of that on my property? And this farm is not even big. I mean, 39 acres is not large by any stretch of the imagination. There are people that have several hundred acres. This is more land than we will ever use in our lifetime. And I'm honored to be a steward of it, because that's part of what I want to do too. Just be a good steward of the land, return it back, regenerate the soil, give teaching opportunities for all of you. And it's just fun. It's really fun. But yeah, let's go check out the oak tree in the back. That's the other thing that we talked about in the beginning. Was I said, I'd love to have that oak tree. It's absolutely giant. And now that we have it, we're going to do some cleanup efforts on it because it's kind of a mess. And if you thought that we were not going to fence this, you'd be wrong. We also have to do that. That's another thing we're going to be doing is we fenced in the 14 acres. We're going to be doing the exact same thing we did to these 25. Now, the only saving grace is that we won't have to fence in the middle because it already has a fence running down it. So what are we going to do? We're just going to terminate it. We're going to basically take down a fence post. We're going to cut the wires, tighten them up on either side, essentially giving us about a 20-25 foot space in between that we can drive through. That'll be our main drive to access the first and then the second paddock, if you will. That's kind of it's a very European term, but that's kind of the only thing that comes to my mind. You know, field 1 and field 2, because we're going to have fruit trees on the roadside as a windbreak. And we're also gonna have like some more seed beds and stuff we need to be able to access, especially because the barn is gonna be on the first paddock, if you will. And again, I know this is gonna happen in stages, but we're gonna get the fence put up probably as soon as early to mid-April, just because I don't want any deer coming in. I don't wanna invite their presence in, because then if I discourage them now, they'll kind of get the clue. Because believe it or not, we have not had a single deer on the inside the farm, inside the current farm, I should say. Not a single deer. But outside of here, I mean, we got ourselves a whole herd. There are deer prints everywhere over here. There's probably 20 to 50 deer, I'd say, in this area that constantly just travel around eating all the forage. So we're gonna fence all that off to keep them out. And then that way, once they get the idea that they don't come in, we'll have a whole 39 acres of deer-proof farm, which in my opinion, that sounds kind of great. So we are underneath this absolutely gigantic oak tree. I mean, this thing is a behemoth. It's huge. It is probably one of the largest oak trees I've seen in a very, very, very long time. Not the largest, but it's one of the largest for sure. One of the first things we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here and clean up all this brush from underneath the tree. It's just, there's a lot of invasives that come in. One of the most invasive is autumn olive. That's what this is right here. And autumn olive is, or Russian olive as it's called as well, it is a very invasive plant. It creates wonderful forage for honeybees. I mean, the honeybees just go nuts for it. But because of that, it cross-pollinates and creates a lot of berries, and then the birds eat the berries. The birds love the berries, and ultimately just chokes out a lot of the biodiversity in the area. So since we're all about biodiversity, even though this is wonderful forage, the bees are going to find it elsewhere, no doubt. It's all over the place now, and it is basically fully entrenched in the Michigan countryside. And so we're going to definitely take out a lot of these invasives, but another invasive that is here is the wild grapevine. This stuff is insane. I mean, you can literally, believe it or not, look at this. Hopefully it don't fall. Oh, yeah, look, I might be able to, this little branch I think could hold my weight. There's another bigger one over there, but it's inside of all this brush. But let's see if I can hold my, not quite. But we're gonna take all this down, because this stuff will choke out a tree. Look at this. Mission 1 is gonna be to cut all of that out of the tree and free this tree up. Let it breathe again, because boy, that stuff will kill a tree in a heartbeat. Let's see if I can get this one down. This one I could probably hang on. Yeah, see? So that one, we're gonna just cut that. We're just gonna cut it off at the base, keep cutting it back. We'll probably get a stump grinder, grind all that crap up, and then let it die inside the tree, and over time it'll deteriorate and fall on its own. There is a bunch of wild grape, and that is also very, very invasive. But yeah, so that's one of our missions, is just to kind of clean up the trees. That'll help them to live longer, look more beautiful. And I think this, even though this tree is definitely getting succumb to age, it probably still has another 50, 75 years probably in it if it can get healthy. So yeah, we're gonna do that, but I'm excited. I am pumped. It's just fun. It's fun to take on a new challenge. And you know, I'll say this much too. The farm just across the ravine there is also for sale. And I've had thoughts, you guys, but the thing is I have to stay very level-headed and realize that this farm is for educational purposes. This farm is for all of you. This farm is for us to teach you how to grow a garden, to teach you how to have a small farm, to teach you how to regenerate the soil, to inspire you to reach for bigger goals. And I'd be lying, like for sure, we could easily raise the money to purchase the other 20 some acres that are available over there as well on the other side of the ravine. We would have, we'd basically monopolize almost like just about near 75 acres of land total. But at a certain point you realize, I'm realizing this now. What am I ever, there's no way. I'm not growing soybeans on this land. I'm not going to grow corn on this land. I might do sweet corn. Who knows? Maybe we do sweet corn. Maybe we have a sweet corn stand. If this video gets 5,000 likes, I will plant a 3-acre parcel of sweet corn. And we'll have an MIgardener sweet corn stand at the shop, and all of you guys can come and get your sweet corn. How about that? 5,000 likes, that's my challenge. Because sweet corn it's not profitable. It is very labor intensive. And I'd also have to pay someone to come with a planter and plant it, because I'm not planting 4 acres or 3 acres or whatever I just promised, 3 acres. I'm not gonna plant out 3 acres of sweet corn by hand. So that would be expensive as well. And then there's the fertilizer, and that all has to be organic. So 5,000, get to it. All right, so that's about it for today's episode. I am really excited. I'm like bursting at the seams with ideas and inspiration, and it just feels good. And the final thing I'd say too is none of this would be possible without you guys. None of this. This whole entire farm. Again, the farm is called Idlewild. And I love the name. We're always going to be MIgardener. The farm is Idlewild. And the reason why is because there's an idleness to nature. There's like a very calmness to nature, but yet there's also a wild side. There's idle and then there's wild. And it's totally okay in life to have both of those occurring. And I just appreciate you guys' support. I appreciate you joining the journey. I appreciate your support of the seed shop. I appreciate your support of our fertilizer lines. I appreciate your support of even watching our videos, sharing with friends, liking our videos, subscribing, and spreading the word about what we're doing, because together, you and me and the rest of the MIgardener team, we're creating lasting change that is changing the way people connect with their food supply, with food security, their gardens, the earth, and even with each other. And so I cannot thank you guys enough. It's a lot of fun, and it's a humbling experience to be able to have the opportunity to say you have more land than you know what to do with. So anyways, I'll catch you all on the next episode. I'm super happy. Hopefully you guys are as well. And we'll catch you all on the next episode. Grow bigger. Take care. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider clicking this one. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I want to thank you for your viewership, because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free, and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We also have vegetable seeds, fertilizer, or tools. If you need any of those, consider visiting MIgardener.com. Links will be in the description box below. We've got you covered. And as always, we'll see you all in the garden. Take care.